Cup of Motorsport. The first time it's gone to France, a dominant performance. What a brilliant performance throughout the season it's been from both drivers, Alexander Premat and this man, Nicolas Lapierre. He did everything expected of him. He held on in difficult conditions, took second place and wrapped up the title. The World Cup of Motorsport may already belong to France, but A1 Grand Prix's inaugural season comes to a spectacular conclusion here at the Shanghai International Circuit in China. Hello and welcome to our final broadcast of the first A1 Grand Prix series. I'm Ben Edwards with John Watson, and it's a beautiful day here in southeast China. Absolutely glorious conditions for the two races to come. But let's take a little look back over the story of the season so far.
Round 1 saw the spectacular launch of the A1 Grand Prix Championship. Brazil captured the first pole. The rolling start sprint race proved to be a truly international affair and saw the podium occupied by 3 continents, with New Zealand, France and Brazil.
Brazil take the first win of A1GP.
The action intensified in the feature race, with Team Lebanon crashing out, testing the A1 chassis to its limits. Piquet Jr. made it a double victory in front of a massive Brands Hatch crowd, with 2 new arrivals on the podium. Australia coming second, and aspiring motorsport nation Mexico in third. Germany hosted round 2. After a dramatic start, France held on to open their A1 account in the sprint race.
France, it's their first win in the World Cup of Motorsport.
In the feature race, Switzerland showed early form before France spectacularly power-boosted their way past on the circuit's long straights. The podium saw 2 new emerging stars from Great Britain and Canada. Round 3, Estoril, Portugal saw the experienced Dutch team scoring their best result to date and continued success for Team France in the sprint race. But Holland's Jos Verstappen had a rush of blood to the head and dramatically crashed out in the feature race, where Team Ireland produced an amazing overtake after a 4-way battle. This ensured Ireland had its first podium of the year. A1 followed the winter sun and headed south to Australia, where Portugal started the weekend well by qualifying second for the sprint race, which they maintained for the finish, and France continued their domination. The feature race saw another great start by Portugal, which proved to be short-lived as they incurred a drive-through penalty. Mexico clashing with the Czech Republic, causing the safety car to come out, combined with pit stops, meant that for the first time Team Lebanon led the race. After a huge crash for Team Japan, France breezed home to make it another double. Victory number 6, and Nicolas Lapierre has dominated proceedings. Round 5, Malaysia saw a storming start in the sprint race by Team Switzerland. A1 witnessed its most exciting race to date, with Switzerland fending off an aggressive attack by Team France until the very last lap.
They're round the outside there, France almost has it, almost has it! Team France takes the lead, it's victory number 7 for France.
The feature race was action-packed, with national pride fizzing over when India shunted Pakistan. Team Malaysia drove with heart in front of a patriotic crowd. France was ecstatic with their 8th successive victory, but nothing could compare with the joy of the Czechs gaining their first bronze medal. Round 6, Dubai hosted the last race of 2005. The sprint race saw Team France end their unbeaten run with a rare mistake, dropping them to 7th.
France have spun! Oh my goodness! They've lost even more time now, and France really in trouble.
This, coupled with problems for Team Ireland, meant Italy made their first trip to the podium of the season, with a long-deserved victory for consistent Team Switzerland. The feature race was as exciting as ever. GB survived a bump on the first lap, and France fought through the field. Pit stops proved pivotal, and Switzerland and Italy pitted late under the safety car, handing the lead to GB, who eventually relented under huge pressure from France. Team South Africa took a jubilant third, with China netting their first points of the season in front of strong support and an ecstatic team. And France took their 9th victory of the season.
South Africa hosted the first street race for A1 on the Durban seafront, watched over by a capacity crowd. The sprint race start was tense on the narrow streets, but in the final lap the Netherlands tried a daring move on France for lead, which ended with a dizzy Jos Verstappen. And victory for France. The feature race was no stranger to incidents either, with Great Britain getting tied up in the pits and France obtaining a drive-through penalty. Switzerland led in the last lap, but the boss had unfinished business from the sprint race.
Down the outside, the Netherlands takes the lead! The Netherlands is in front!
Disappointment for Switzerland, but adulation for the Netherlands, becoming the 4th team to take victory in A1. Round 8, Indonesia looked promising for Great Britain, with Robbie Kerr taking hold for the sprint race and leading from the race start. But France had other ideas, passing Great Britain for their 11th victory of the season. Luck deserted the French in the feature race, finishing an unaccustomed 7th. This gave Britain the chance for a long-awaited victory, but the decision not to pit under the safety car left the door open for a resilient Sean McIntosh and Team Canada's first victory. Monterrey, Mexico hosted round 9 for A1's first trip to North America. France regained composure after their Indonesia blip to take the early lead, but it was Japan who made heads turn, flipping in spectacular style during the safety car. France held their nerve to take victory, but second was Switzerland and Neil Yarni in his last round to keep France honest in the championship. As so often happens this season, pit stops proved pivotal in the feature race. After an early stop by France and Switzerland, the Netherlands pitted in third to rejoin in front of the Swiss and give France a run for their money through turn 2. Lapierre stayed focused to take the double in Mexico and position France for championship victory in the USA. France entered the sprint race knowing a point would secure the World Cup of Motorsport, but this was no foregone conclusion as New Zealand and Mexico moved to first and second respectively from the rolling start, turning the hazardous conditions to their advantage. Mexico showed spirit, overtaking New Zealand and leading through the infamous corkscrew. France came back from a cautious start, demonstrating composure and skill on the wet track to take second. The race may have belonged to Mexico, but the season belonged to France as they became the first winners of the World Cup of Motorsport. The French showed why they were champions, taking early control in the feature race. Others were not as composed as Jos the Boss retired early after having one of those days in the office. Pramac seemed to have the race wrapped up, but a mechanical problem caused him to retire, leaving the door open for Mexico to take the double in the States. But with one round left, national pride will ensure a great finale to the season in China.
Well, Darren Manning preparing for the start of his first A1 Grand Prix event. Let's just quickly remind you once again of how the cars line up on the grid for this 15-lap sprint. The feature race will be over 30 laps. Remember, there's a half-hour duration on the sprint race or an hour's duration on the feature. So it's Malaysia and Great Britain on the front row together, but watch out for Alex Pramac. He's on the second row of the grid for Team France, and they've been so strong throughout the season. Salvador Duran enjoying his third time in 4 events on the first couple of rows, but Ananda Mikla of Indonesia has had his best qualifying effort in 5th. He's ahead of Michael Devaney of Ireland, then Jos Verstappen and Thomas Enger. We've got Australia and Switzerland back there in 9th and 10th. 11th is Patrick Carpentier of Canada. Watch out for him, he's been quick here. Stephen Simpson of South Africa's next, followed by Matt Halliday, Adam Khan, Marcin Kwa, then Christian Fittipaldi, Enrico Toccocello, then Cesar Campanico, his first outing for Portugal. Phil Giebler drives for the USA, then it's Graham Rahal for Lebanon, Matthias Lauda for Austria, and Sebastian Stahl for Germany, also making his debut in the series. So we've got a new boy on the front row in Darren Manning. We've got a new boy on the back row as well in the shape of Sebastian Stahl driving for Team Germany. Malaysia leads them round on this formation lap. Darren Manning for Great Britain, of course, starting on the front row as well. He's got a lot of padding up on the cockpit side there. That's so that he can rest his head against it if his neck gets too tired.
Yeah, and that particularly it's on the left-hand side of the cockpit. That's going to assist him, particularly coming out of turns 12 and 13. There's another massive corner here, but it's a left-hand corner. That's turn 7. In qualifying, it was flat with new tyres, but as the race progresses, you'll find drivers having to feather the throttle. But it is through turns 12 and 13 that most drivers who have suffered neck problems have been suffering it in that particular corner.
Now they're heading down this long straight. It is the longest straight used in A1 Grand Prix. 1.1 kilometres long, so they're sitting on there at full throttle for some 12 to 15 seconds, and remember the power boost will be very, very useful along there.
Yes, but you only activate it when you go into 6th or top gear. If you lift your throttle for any reason, it disengages the power boost button, so you have to keep your foot flat all the way down the straight. it will then disengage once you lift off the throttle, of course, go down through the sequence of gears. I would expect to see Alex Young and maybe Darren Manning, but Darren has never had any experience of using car boost before, so this is maybe a disadvantage as opposed to that of Alex Young.
Here we go then. The final sprint race of the inaugural season of A1 Grand Prix is about to get underway. We have a new poleman in Malaysia and a brand new driver for Great Britain, and we're racing here in China. Away we go. Good start for Alex Young, and watch the French car in the middle. Alexander Premat trying to squeeze down in the middle. Manning trying to shut the door. Into the first two corners we go, and it's still going to be very tight. Manning running around the edge, trying to get into second place. Still side by side with the French car, and he's got the line, but now the French car's on the outside, and he's pushed back to third.
A good job by Darren Manning in his first outing in an A1GP car. He consolidated his front row in good position, but Alex Young has got the advantage and has taken it, and as they dive down into turn 6, the cars all over the racetrack. Ireland going down the inside trying to make up a position.
So Malaysia has been given a little bit of a breathing space here as the battle continues for second. Great Britain, France, then Mexico, the Netherlands ahead of Ireland, Canada on the attack, trying to get past the Czech Republic. Tricky place to do that.
Yes, and you saw the Czech Republic back end of the car, step sideways, cars side by side. Everybody got round turn 1 cleanly. Italy going around the outside of Stephen Simpson for South Africa.
Italy down the inside, that's Enrico Toccacello, he spun it. Italy spun in the middle of the pack there.
Well, he had to go down the inside, he had to put the brakes on hard, and that's the consequence. He locked up the rear brake and around she went.
Netherlands trying to gain more ground there. You can also see Indonesia lost a couple of places. New Zealand trying to move up. New Zealand started 13th, but they've definitely gained at least 2 places on the power boost. Let's see who uses the power boost button heading down the long straight. The leader is Malaysia. Great Britain in second place. France in third, under a pressure from Mexico, and it's Mexico on the power boost. Look at the little red glow in the button on the bottom of the screen. Mexico's going for third place, and here comes Mexico. Watch the red car down the inside, and I think he's through.
Ireland also, they lost position at the start. They've regained that position. Ireland ahead of Holland into turn 14. Canada spun round.
Patrick Carpentier for Canada has spun at turn 14. Oh, somebody else has got involved as well. What a pity. And that's a disastrous start to the day for them.
I think that's Switzerland, in fact.
Yeah, looks like it. Malaysia leads from Great Britain in second place. Third now is Mexico. France in fourth, and not seeming having that incredible pace that we've seen. Brazil has gained a huge number of places. Brazil's up to 10th, and they're a battle between USA and Lebanon.
Yes, Graham Rahal goes a long way round, but he gets into trouble on the outside of turn 1. It is slippery out there. Anybody who got there in practice ended up spinning off track.
USA in 15th position, Lebanon 16th, Austria in 17th. China lost quite a few places on that first lap. Their less experienced driver at the wheel did struggle a bit on the opening lap, and he's now down in 19th position. Still battles there. Brazil followed by Australia and South Africa, but we're riding on board with the Netherlands. He's in 6th.
Running behind Ireland. Ireland got past down that long straight, but the problem is you take wing out of the car, you then find you've got a lot less grip in the technical part of the racetrack. That's the balance that Ireland have sought. It works in their favour on the straight. They've got to be very careful around the slower parts of the racetrack.
So as the car of Team Canada comes back into the pits, the Swiss car being pushed away, and we've lost 2 potential front runners from the sprint race. They'll have to look towards the feature.
So we've got Ireland now about a second behind France. Watch to see whether that huge straight line advantage is going to help them as they go down the straight.
Malaysia, yes, with that gap of just under a second. There is the car of Patrick Carpentier into the pits. Disappointing. He's been pretty much on the pace throughout the weekend, but it's not the way he wanted it to go. Now, watch the leaders. Malaysia with a gap over Great Britain. Then it's Mexico, and the man to watch is the green car of Ireland, but they're under yellows.
Yes, waved yellow flag down. This is because Switzerland's car is being moved to safety, so nobody... Oh, there's a pass now. That's going to go back into line. Adam Khan, get back in line. You are not allowed to pass under a yellow flag. If you do, it's at your peril.
Pakistan currently running in 14th. That's the same as their starting position. Here's a look at the start once again.
Well, Alex Young did it perfectly, but France tried everything possible to get under the wing, move one way, back the other way. Darren Manning then did the right thing, stayed wide, allowed himself working room, gave France a chance also to breathe, but got enough momentum to keep ahead of France. But now, side by side, going round turn 1. This is the beginning of 2, and then pitches back into 3, and then you can see as they come into 3, see GBR in the right pace to consolidate into 4, a lock up for France, and that saved Great Britain the opportunity to stay in second place, and then pressure from France from Mexico behind.
Yeah, certainly pretty exciting stuff, that first corner. This is what it looked like from just a little further back. Oh, but out of the car now is Giorgio Mondini, so the Swiss car has made it back to the pits. He's also out of the race. But still, the racing continues across the line. Again, Australia couldn't quite get alongside the Brazilian car.
And clearly Australia has got more pace, but they're not in a position to take advantage. The pace that's going to happen is going to be at the end of the straight. They couldn't do it fast enough.
3 laps have been completed. There are 12 remaining in this sprint race in China. Malaysia lead by 1.2 seconds over Great Britain. Mexico holding on to third. Fourth position France. Ireland fifth. The Netherlands sixth. Indonesia seventh. Then the Czech Republic. New Zealand ninth. And Brazil in 10th.
There's the battle between France and Ireland, with the Netherlands back in 6th place. Those 3 cars, there's a gap now sufficient to reach them to be able to be comfortable with that long 1.1 kilometre straight. And unlikely any one of those 3 will have to use power boost either to attack or defend.
In the background you can see China versus Italy here. Now Italy had a problem on the first lap. Now they're trying to desperately claim some of that ground back once again. Oh, he's right off wide.
And that's the part of track that he went offline in the first corner. He made a mistake trying to dive down the inside, but you can see the frustration all over Toccacello's, not his face, it's over the language, the body language of his car.
Yeah, he's determined to get through, isn't he? He's coming up to turns 11 and 12 here. We're riding on board with Martin Guar as he now tries to defend from Team Italy. Big slide there. This is a tough baptism for the young Chinese driver who's done some practice sessions this year, but he hasn't raced the car up until now, and surely Italy is going to pick up the draft and be able to slip through here.
Well, with the experience of Toccacello and the inexperience of Martin Guar, you would expect that to happen, but looking back you can still see it comes down one way. Well, was that a big dive over to the right by China to defend, or was there a problem? But I think there is a problem for China. Down at Lebanon have spun Graham Rahal has spun down to turn 14.
So they both had to go either side of the Lebanese car, and in that it means Italy managed to go through. They've now and China nearly losing it out of the last corner.
Well, I've never seen anybody lose it out of turn 16, but that could have been a first as China got it all sideways. 11 laps to go. Italy's used all power boost. China's still got 3, but really they're now in a position they're not going to challenge Italy in 19th place.
Malaysia continue to lead with 4 laps completed. As you mentioned earlier, John, Mexico may be the one to watch. They're closing on Great Britain a little bit. Great Britain second, Mexico third. Then there's a gap back to France in 4th, Ireland in 5th, and the Netherlands in 6th.
Well, France is going to come under pressure this time down the straight because Ireland were closer to the rear of France's car as they came through those sequence of corners before going on to the straight. Then we see 2nd and 3rd Mexico positioning itself. Ireland now equally getting into position, not trying to pass into turn 11. You can't get it down there, but you can with the straight line speed Ireland has get alongside France as long as Alexander Premat isn't so aggressive.
Well, let's see what everyone can do. Still that other battle going on slightly further back between Brazil, Australia, South Africa. But watch here, France, as you say, under pressure from Ireland. Both of them on the power boost. Look at that. Ireland on their last power boost opportunity here. And Mexico, meanwhile, having a think about it. But in the background, the green car of Ireland, not close enough to make a move into turn 14.
Alexander Premat for France, very good on the brakes, very experienced. Michael Devaney back in the car for the first time. He stopped his bodywork. I think it's the bodywork or something on the track. You can see it was thrown up by the wheels. Michael Devaney gathering every move of France for that battle for 4th.
Quick reminder that Michael Devaney, as you say, back in the car after 2 outings in the car early in the season. Here he comes again on the attack down the inside into turn 1. Michael Devaney takes the place. The 21-year-old from Dublin has got past the French machine.
He used the last power boost opportunity he had. He used it intelligently. He got a good run off. Turn 16. He's gone past France. France is now going to have to worry about Netherlands behind. This will give Devaney the opportunity to run in clean, clear air. You see how far he is behind Mexico. It's some 3 seconds in real terms. He will maybe coming into turn 6. Just keep your head, wait until you get on the straight. Your advantage lies there. You have to use it to your best.
John, this has got to be about the first time that we've seen France in a race situation simply not having the pace of their rivals. It really hasn't happened throughout this first season.
No, and the reason is because they used both drivers, Nicolas Lapierre in on Friday, then Alexander Premat in on Saturday. And of course, by doing that, you are automatically handicapping yourself. Probably that's the reason why we saw bits of bodywork. Austria, Matthias Lauda, front wing, absolutely, you can see it's bent under the front of the car, caught under the leading edge of the underbody of the car. We don't know why, but there is a absolutely perfect pass from Michael Devaney on Alexander Premat going into turn 1, and that is a copybook exhibition of how to pass another car.
Watch New Zealand now up into 9th position, and New Zealand desperate to try and close up, particularly on the Netherlands, because the battle for 4th place in the series is still very much alive, and at the moment that's looking good for Jos Verstappen, because he's a few places ahead of the New Zealand car, and Halliday for New Zealand in the black car had a think there about getting past the Czech.
Czech Republic and Thomas Enger planted their car firmly in the middle of the racetrack, which is quite legal, denied New Zealand the opportunity of going around the outside or down the inside. There was no track to use, so once again he's had to back off and go through these sequence of corners down into turns. This is 9 and 10. Get a little bit of a lock-up from the rear of that Indonesia car.
Yeah, Indonesia though, the white and red car here, what a great run they're having as well. This is Ananda Mikkela's best performance of the season so far, and he's going for a move on Verstappen. He's down the inside. Can he make the move stick? I think he has, but he's got to run it not too wide on the exit here, otherwise he'll lose the place again.
He is going to lose the pace, because there, I think there might have been contact in fact between the two cars. He got it all wrong going into the corner. He found himself in the wrong part of the racetrack. The maturity and the experience of Jos Verstappen enabled him to force more pressure onto Ananda Mikkela, but he's coming back. He's quick on the straight, but not close enough on this occasion. He's used all his power for his front. The Netherlands have still got 2 shots.
Well, that was a pretty daring move from Ananda Mikkela, the 25-year-old. Best result he's had this season is a 6th place finish. He's in 6th, but he wants one better here today, and he's racing hard. I tell you what, Malaysia and Indonesia, 2 teams that do work quite closely together, are showing fantastic pace around this Shanghai International Circuit. Malaysia currently leading, and Indonesia in 6th place.
Alan Jung has quietly got on with his job. He's got a 4.6-second advantage over Great Britain, whose mirrors are filled with Mexico, and they've got Ireland some 3 seconds behind. Those top are some of the 2nd, 3rd and 4th, all lapping within a 1/10 of a second of each other, so there's not much change likely to occur other than team error.
Brazil in 11th place now. In fact, yes, they've been passed by Australia. Just wanted to check that. Brian Briscoe for Australia, as you can see, ahead of Brazil now. And Stephen Simpson of South Africa in the black and yellow car, he's now beginning to put Christian Fittipaldi under a bit more pressure. Behind them, Team Portugal, and then Pakistan, and then the United States. Phil Geber for the USA, still running in 15th position. We're just over half distance in the sprint race at the Shanghai International Circuit. It's being led by Team Malaysia. They're looking for their first win in the series in the final meeting of the year. Further back, there's a great race here between Brazil and South Africa, just outside the points, because Australia recently moved up to 10th.
Well, here you got youth and experience in the hands of Christian Fittipaldi. You got, well, what are you going to say about Stephen Simpson, a driver who came into A1GP and really has matured and just developed all the way through. He's putting pain into the back of Christian Fittipaldi's car. There you see them coming on to the straight. This battle going on with France. Look at this. Czech Republic, that is illegal. Weaving like that is illegal, and that ought to, in my opinion, see the race director hand that down to the stewards. The pass has been made, but Alexander Premat was way out of order. You're allowed to make one blocking move, you're not allowed to move back again, and we've seen Premat do that in previous rounds. That one was blatant, and that ought to be punished.
They seem to be suffering for speed down that straight though, don't they, the French car? Whether that they've got a problem with it or what, but they're certainly not performing up to their normal level. And New Zealand now, the black car of New Zealand is hunting down the World Cup of Motorsport winners, Team France. They might have wrapped it up, and they're under pressure. Here comes Stephen Simpson for South Africa in the yellow and black car to the outside into turn 1.
Well, he wasn't far enough alongside to sweep past, but he has got alongside as they go into turn 1. Can he keep that position? Because if he can do what we saw Team GBR do, he can. Christian Fittipaldi again, that's the benefit of experience. It may not be out-and-out speed that Christian brings to the show for Brazil, but experience is a very big and important part of it.
Malaysia is still flying out front. They're still lapping more quickly than anybody. They've just put in a new fastest first sector time. Very impressive indeed, this performance from Alex Jung. We'll just take a look at that overtake from the Czech Republic on France once again.
Yes, what we missed was what was going on, but look what's going on behind with Brazil and South Africa. That was a major move. Alexander Premat, clearly too many moves.
Here comes Indonesia again. Another attempt from Ananda Mikkela on the inside to get past the Netherlands.
Again, Jos Verstappen goes around the long way, the two cars side by side, but Nicola this time did what he really had to do, and that was just let his car run out and put Verstappen under pressure, force Verstappen wide. That is again within the rules. You go round the long way as Verstappen did, you have to be prepared to pay the penalty of not getting the job done.
Just 5 laps to go in the sprint race. You saw confirmation that there's another investigation going on. Lebanon and Austria actually got together. That was why we saw Lebanon spun at turn 14 and the damage to the Austrian car. They had some kind of incident together. Again, France under pressure here from New Zealand. Alexander Preymat really struggling in this race to extract some speed from his car. And, well, it's interesting, isn't it? France wrapped up the title in the first race at Laguna Seca. In the second race, they were leading, but they had a battery problem that saw them go out of the race. And now here, they're definitely struggling for pace.
But what they did was by putting both drivers in, giving both drivers in, I think it's a great gesture to both drivers. They've contributed to France's victory in this inaugural round of the A1 Grand Prix series. They've put themselves on the back foot, and you can see how much progress is taking place. Going back to what occurred a lap ago on the main straight, and Andrew Mikola dives down the inside. Jos Verstappen decides, I'm going to go with you, I'm going to try and go around the long way with you, but Mikola lets his car stay wide, and there you see the consequence. Verstappen had to run off track and lost maybe half a second in the consequence. Here's the onboard view, but you see there's the grass, there's the curbing, and Mikola, well, that's why you get past people. You have sometimes to be hard. That was a hard move. On board with Team GBR, Darren Manning, that padding on the left-hand side of the cockpit. That's there to help support his head going through turns 12 and 13. Two teams that really are in a comfort zone in the closing laps of this race. Malaysia leading Ireland in fourth. They're not under pressure and they're not applying pressure. But here a battle for second place between Great Britain and Mexico is very much alive. Salvador Duran pushing very hard indeed. Ireland will start on the second row of the grid, we believe, and Jos Verstappen is going slowly.
Very slowly. There's a major problem for the Netherlands. Picks up a bit of speed again there, but he's got some problem. Maybe he's stuck in gear, and sadly his run